KFC bring up being
These are situations where it's serious enough that you need immediate action. You need a really straight off the cuff sort of decision to happen. So crisis scenario, you think, think of something like the Fonterra sort of milk contamination situation. Anywhere where you need to make a major product recall for health or safety issues. There have been quite a few examples.
I remember one when I was working at Western Milk Products, it was in the news and everything where some guy reckoned there was some threat he made milk companies, and if they didn't meet his demands, he was going to lace milk powder or something.
They were sort of 1080 or something.
1080 pounds.
Yeah. So that's a crisis situation where a manager has to make a decision. Do we tell the public? Do we not tell the public? How do we deal with this? What steps do we take to ensure that this doesn't become a major problem? Any significant accident is a crisis situation. Can you think of other examples of crisis situations?
Death in the workplace.
Death in the workplace, accidents. Yeah, Joseph?
Well, just like the local coal mine here, prices dropped over in China and that, so it affected their business, which meant a lot of redundancies, which in turn ripple effect, the whole town sort of suffered from it. And yeah.
Sure, yeah. So that is a real crisis situation. You've got a sudden change in the external environment that has a significant impact on the viability of your business. Crisis. What were you going to say, Tyler? Nothing? An earthquake, yeah, a natural disaster. How do you respond in an earthquake? And, you hear stories from Christchurch.
I was at Wigan Telecom when that earthquake happened.
You were?
Yeah, that building's not there anymore, so they split the offices all round, but at immediate time they flew a lot of people up to Hamilton to work up there. So
and then all the changes that happen in businesses, those are the ongoing decisions, but the initial decisions, how do we respond, what do we need to do, how do we make sure that our staff and our customers and our clients are safe.
And that would probably be the only crisis that you couldn't avoid, really, isn't it? A natural disaster. Everything else, if you've got the right managers in place, should be able to predict anything else.
I mean, you can't necessarily predict everything. I mean, with something
Well,
like...
no, you can't, but...
With something like the price of coal dropping significantly really quickly, you could actually predict that. You could have played that out in different scenarios.
And had something in place.
And companies like Shell, these big companies, they do that scenario planning. What happens if the price of fuel drops, significantly overnight? Okay, they have a plan B to what to do in that situation. And that's part of their decision making. They actually think through the different scenarios. If that happens and they're completely unprepared for it, then that becomes a really challenging decision to make because they're not expecting it. Okay. In the case study they've given, a crisis arose for Coca-Cola when they changed their classic Coke formula to produce new Coke, and customers protested and reacted, and they lost a whole lot of business. So that was for them a crisis, and they basically had to go back on it. Just your decision-making process is going to be a little different in a crisis to perhaps in a non-crisis scenario. Non-crisis scenarios are essentially something that needs resolution. It's not urgent, and they might be routine or non-routine type decisions. And we call those programmed and non-programmed decision-making situations.
Staff are running out of milk.
We're staff
Who's going to go get it?
Run out of milk. Yeah, that could be a crisis scenario. I don't know. The non-crisis, anything like, hey, we've got really high turnover of staff. Okay, it's not a crisis situation, but it's something we need to address and do something about. Okay. And our problem for an organisation that's operating in a difficult environment, a really changing environment, is that you might just end up dealing with the one crisis scenario after another, which doesn't necessarily give you time to make those non-crisis decisions or deal with those sorts of long-term issues. Yeah. So if we divide them into programmed and non-programmed, we're talking here like page 151, and you can see some examples there of what we're talking about with the difference between those. So program decisions is where it is routine routine, it's repetitive, it's well structured. We use decision-making rules. So there might be policy and procedure in place to tell us how to make a decision or what to do and how to deal with a scenario. Okay, what do we do if we catch a student cheating in a test? Okay, we've got a policy in place that tells us how to deal with that. That's a programmed decision-making response. Okay. What a non-programmed decision is when we don't have set rules, where those scenarios might be unpredictable, uncertain, and there's a lot of perhaps maybe more risk involved there as well. So those sorts of decisions can, the non-programmed ones might have a really significant impact if you get the wrong decision. So looking at the examples in the bottom of page 151, for a fast food restaurant, a programmed decision, working out what supplies need to be reordered. Stock's running low. We're running low on lettuce. Right, we need to order more. Okay, so it's usually some alert in the computer, and this is where computer systems really help with those programmed decisions. We don't need to rely on somebody counting how many tomatoes are left in the chiller. Maybe we do, I don't know. But in a lot of stores, the software for your computer system will actually track your stocks. So you don't need to have that as a human decision every time. A non-programmed decision for a fast food restaurant might be deciding where to open up a new branch. Burger, maybe we were looking at Burger Fuel, are they going to open a branch in Greymouth? Hey.
Are they?
No. Just dreaming. Hoping.
I know there was talk about a while ago about that Hell's Pizza possibly.
Hell's Pizza, mate. Okay.
Opening up a chain in Greymouth, but that
Yeah.
that was ages ago, but that's.
I think Domino's
Yeah, I think Domino's got the monopoly on it
Yeah.
at the moment.
So, but you can see how that's not an everyday decision, and it weighs up a lot of different factors, something that's quite out of the ordinary. At university, a program decision, deciding if students meet graduation requirements. Okay? We can actually just, again, put it into the computer and it will run a check to see if you've met the requirements for the qualification. But a non-program decision might be deciding which programs to offer. Okay, do we run a business qualification? Do we run an automotive qualification? What qualifications do you provide? So that's non-program. That's about doing more research to find out what the stakeholder need is. For a car maker, the program decision is determining the work rates, or determining how many, how you're working, how many cars you need to output. A non-program decision might be selecting a new car design. Any questions about opportunity, crisis, non-crisis, program, non-program?
No, pretty happy with it.
Just a whole lot of new jargon for stuff that we already do, right? Yeah, you guys know all of this already. We all make decisions, and we all know when it's a crisis and when it's not. And we all know when we've got rules to follow, or a policy and procedure, or when we're actually having to make some really hard decisions, which might be more non-program. We're just giving you some jargon, some language around that, okay? When it comes to how do managers actually make those decisions, each manager has different sort of approaches and skill sets in regards to decision making. So here we're talking about sort of more about personal style, and there's an argument that it's irrational, is sort of derived out of this idea that we can make the perfect or the optimal decision. Okay, if we factor in all of the relevant details, get rid of human error, human beliefs, human bias, perception, and your, all your attributes of the self, then we should be able to make a truly rational decision. Okay? And there was an argument for a long time that businesses should be rational. We'll look at it next week. Weber's ideal bureaucracy. We should just have rational decision making in organisations. There's no room for the non-rational or the intuitive. Okay? And sure, maybe that's the ideal. Maybe that's what we aim for. But we also accept that humans aren't entirely rational beings, and that's a strength that we can also use in other ways. Non-rational, with non-rational recognise that we're never going to have perfect information. Okay? We can spend far too much time collecting all of the information to have the most rational decision, but we will inevitably spend too much time doing that. Too much time, money, resources. So we get to a point that we have non-rational decision making, and that includes things like satisficing, where you seek options until you find one that looks satisfactory. I do that all the time. Okay, I've got a problem. I need to find a new case study for a particular topic. I'll have a look through some books or online or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that one looks good. Yep, all right, that'll do.
Yeah.
I stop looking at that point. Any further time I invest in that process is to me wasted, because this will do. But then you get people who are like, well, no, hang on, we'll keep looking, we'll get a whole lot of different options, and we'll evaluate them on, what criteria they meet, and look at people buying houses, for example. Yeah. Do you just go along and you keep looking at houses until you find one that'll do, and you buy it? Or do you wait and find the perfect house for you? Who has actually managed to ever find the perfect house for them? Hopefully someone.
We were pretty happy.
You do, Joseph. Oh, good on you.
Yeah, we spent a while and we got pretty lucky, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You spent some time, okay.
Yeah.
So satisficing is where you basically look at options until you find one that will work. And it's not to say it's the best option. It may not work the best, but it will do. Incremental is when managers make the smallest possible response to reduce a problem to a tolerable level. Okay? So this is essentially where you don't necessarily deal with the full problem, you just deal with one aspect of the problem. Somebody's showing up late every day for work. Okay? From an incremental approach, well, what's the smallest possible response you can do to address that issue?
Have a go. Just sort of give them a bit of a growl in the morning, and that's about
give
it.
them a bit of a growl every day. Yeah,
So
tell them to turn up on
that.
time. What's the best possible response you could take?
Give them a warning.
Yeah, start to do some performance improvement plan, give them a warning, do some performance management, and work out what's actually going to happen with their future with the organisation. Okay, so we can reduce the problem to a tolerable level without necessarily solving the problem or looking at the real causes of the problem. Non-rubbish bin is where managers just act randomly until something works. They just try lots of different
You just
things.
gotta do that.
Yeah, you just try lots of different things. We'll just cross our fingers and hope that one of these things that we're doing will work. We don't know which one it is that solved the problem, but one of them did. Okay, that's the rubbish bin model. So those are sort of three non-rational approaches there to decision making. I'm sure you can relate to doing that at some point in time. The last one there is the intuitive. Okay, so intuition, for some people rave about intuition and think it's the best thing since sliced bread. Some people say, no, you should never make a decision based on intuition alone.
Not alone.
Yeah.
And the facts to back up your intuition.
You need facts to back up your intuition. Intuition is gut feeling. That feeling in your tummy that something is right or something is wrong, or that this is how you're going to deal with it.
I deal with little problems like that, like intuitively, I would say, should that go there or there, my gut says there, okay, there. But if you were looking at a business, I would have to mix my intuition with
facts. I used to work as a door-to-door sales user, knocking on doors in Northland in the dark. By myself, well, I had a buddy, but the buddy would always end up in a house somewhere. So by yourself in the dark, you know, knocking on doors. I'd have a team leader driving around in a van, but they might be off somewhere else. Anyway, every now and then I'd just go, I'm not going into that house. My intuition tells me it's not good.
That's not safe, yeah.
I don't feel safe. I'm walking right past it.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know what? I've got nothing to prove my intuition right or wrong because I didn't go into the house to find out, right?
But even
You're still here,
nobody told me.
But you know, most of the houses I went into, everybody was lovely. I got cups of tea, biscuits, whatever. You know.
What were you selling?
I was doing the security systems. The Armaguard.
Oh,
Yeah, security system. So you know, mostly they couldn't find a thing. You know, whatever. They were lovely. But intuition comes in when you recruit somebody or you're on an interview panel for a job. Okay? There are some managers who just go, oh, I just get a bad feeling about that person or I get a good feeling about that person. Can you quantify that? Can you say why you've got a bad feeling or why you've got a good feeling?
that's the answers.
Notice the answers. Yeah. What are you basing it on? Are you basing it on? Because we are so...
Personal beliefs, personal
Preference.
yeah.
Well, remember from business communications, those
Yeah.
of you who did business communications, when we talked about perception, we talked about values and perceptual errors.
I think when I got the job down at Westlock, they said to me that was sort of one of the reasons why they actually got me in for an interview the second time I applied for the job. So I applied for it the first time, didn't get it, but I applied for it the second time and they even said to me afterwards that they saw, oh, this guy's applied for a job second time. He obviously, that must mean he obviously really wants the job, or give him a chance.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, the intuition is the really non-rational approach. It's the, I can't actually explain why, but this is how I feel. Yeah. Now, some people do rely on this. And the interesting thing about intuition, there has been more research done recently about intuition, is that it's not always wrong. Intuition can be a snap decision or a feeling that you're actually having based on a whole lot of prior knowledge that you hold and experience that you hold in your head. Okay? So you're actually making a decision based on prior knowledge and experience. And your brain is this amazing little calculator that just factors all of these things. Here's the answer. Okay? Whereas we can go through a really rational approach for an interview. Okay, these are the key knowledge, skills, abilities required, and this is how that person meets his scores against each of those things.
Sounds like taking your kid to the pediatrician.
Yeah. And this is their overall result from 3 different interviewers. You know, we can calculate all the numbers out and factor that up and still make a bad selection decision. Okay? So, you know, there's certainly some case there for intuition. It does tend to increase with experience, so maybe more senior managers have better intuition. But again, it's one of those things, you know, can you measure it? Can you measure the good, you know what, like you're saying, Tamala, one of the things to do with intuition is have that gut feeling, but then get some evidence to support why, you know, especially if it's an interview situation, because you actually might have to justify why you've made that decision. So you need the evidence there. Okay. Have a look at your decision-making approach in the quiz activity 2 in your handout.
It's quiz, isn't
Yeah. Journey.
it? But I think with a lot of these, though, it depends on what time of day you do it, what frame of mind.
Yes, because I was
So I've done a lot of these lately.
Yeah, what,
Yeah, exactly.
what are you relating it to?
Yeah.
Think about work, perhaps.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just came out as rational. So
Yeah,
it
it
was
does.
like 1 point 22. I sort of feel sometimes on bit sort of between the two ourselves. I do rely on sort of combination of knowing that something's the right answer to gut.
I use my gut feeling in my everyday life,
Yeah.
but I think if I was to be a manager in a business, I'd have to have fact behind me to make my decision. I think that's what came out rational.
It's these little quizzes, you know, they're not psychometrically proven to be the best. You know, it's just a little quiz to get thinking about it. You can disagree with your result, you know, and it may not be the best indicator of your particular style, but when you know, it's just an opportunity to reflect and think, yeah, am I more intuitive or do I tend to be more rational in that approach? Any questions?
We finished?
Are we finished? No. So, one of the other things that I was just going to look at with the rational model is just looking at, I don't know if this is actually in your book, it came from your book originally, but I think it was in one of the old versions, is the more information we have, the better, right? Yes or no?
So it depends on the
Well, time and resources. Yeah.
Yes, maybe. The more information we have, the better. Well,
If you've collected all within the time frame that I'm asking it for,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
That's
Sometimes we
a
can't
week later.
get all of that information. And this is called the sort of cost of additional information.
That's not in our book, did you say?
No, I don't think so. I think it used to be in there, but that's okay. So essentially here, what we're looking at is how perfect is our information? 100% perfect. Okay, we want to know absolutely everything there is to know about, you know, that house before we buy it. That's perfect information. But then there's this value and cost of additional information. Okay, so this is looking at how much time and effort and resources do we put into collecting that perfect information. And we get to a point where there is this zone of cost effectiveness. Okay? So the zone of cost effectiveness will give us a point of optimality in terms of how much information we've got. We cannot endlessly pursue perfect information because we will spend too much time. Bye, Dave. Yeah.
I'm just going to take Joe for 2 minutes while I jump lock up.
I can do
Okay.
it. Sure. All right. We'll just have a quick break. You gonna have a break?
Got coffee?
Yes, I'll just whip out.
Yeah, I've got
There's a barista machine there. Right?
Yeah.
Just
I know,
we fill it up. Come on.
Unless you've got
that?
Yeah.
for coffee.
That's
Not a rational session.
There's a crisis here. I'm running out of coffee.
I don't know.
Don't
how
get
you
yourself a decaf.
I don't know how you drink. I couldn't even drink decaf at this time of day.
Really?
I'd be awake.
Rainbow.
Yeah.
Wow, so if you
Oh,
go
I
to
drank
a you just take a coffee and you'll be sweet.
Yeah, that's right.
I am new coffee to drink.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. We just took a break down here, so.
And I get that. I've got a coffee before I come here because I'm shattered and I'm still ready to be.
See, I don't smoke, but if I just have 1 or 2 puffs or something, like, cigarettes.
So that one there, Kate, I don't know if you've already gone through it, but the cost of the additional information, the
Yeah.
figure 5.3, I didn't really understand it. So what you're saying is obviously the more time you spend, the more that's costing you for value. Is that what you're saying, to get better information?
Exactly. Yeah, that's
More
right.
Yeah.
resources used.
The more resources you are using, the more time you're using, the more energy you're using, also there's becomes a delay, and what is the impact of the delay in your decision because you're still collecting information, so that has a negative impact as well, so.
Yeah.
Restraint.
So when you say average value and marginal value,
That's all
simplistic.
economic sort of jargon now,
So I don't have to worry about that so much.
Unless you do
That's
an
good.
economics paper, in which case you should probably understand the concept. But unfortunately,
Yeah.
I'm not the economics tutor, so But the point, I suppose the key point with this graph is just to get that idea that
So it's
there's
never been antis.
no, there's a cost benefit, ratio
Yes.
to collecting that perfect information, and you have to weigh that up. And you've probably been in that situation before where you go, actually, I can't keep doing the research on this. I
I've
just
gotta
need to
make
make
a
a
decision.
decision.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, been there.
yeah, unless I don't know. There's certain personalities out there that do like to actually spend inordinate amounts of
Wow.
time doing research.
Maybe they should come to my house.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like that. Or your house. Don't speak to small stuff.
So the cost of adding that additional information doesn't match the value coming from having that information, okay? Yeah. So that is just to bear in mind when you're looking at that rational decision making. So the thing you really do need to know about for your test is this model, okay?
Oh. Test.
Yes, test, highlight,
Not test.
Not the.
star, asterisk,
Yeah.
whatever. This is the model we need to focus on, because this is essentially identifying a process that managers can use to help them make good decisions. Okay. And so the first step in that process is to identify the problem. Now, when we're talking about identifying the problem, it's more than just saying, the problem is that, we don't have enough car parks at the Polytech campus. It actually involves a little bit more than that. It's involved scanning the environment, looking at the changing circumstances, thinking about what kind of a problem is it? Is it a crisis? Is it a non-crisis? Is it an opportunity? Having a look in detail about clarifying what that problem really actually is. And this is in your textbook, by the way, page 156. So what's the causes? What's the nature of that problem? What is the real reason behind it?
What's great?
Page 156 in table 5.3.
What was your question?
I didn't ask one. I was just
me.
pausing to
I was like,
to catch
questions
up.
there.
Because I go too fast. Okay. So the next step is to generate some alternative solutions. So this is like, well, what are our options here? This is a bit about brainstorming. This is where the brainstorming process kicks in. Okay, because we need to make sure that we're open to all sorts of ideas, even if they're crazy. Because sometimes it's the crazy ideas that are the winners. Especially if it's an opportunity problem and you're thinking,